Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome back. We're currently doing tapestry tests. This is number 3. Once I find a tapestry or 2 or 3 that I can rotate through, this will stabilize. Right now it's kind of crazy. I'm waiting on some that I ordered, but until I find a good placeholder to the ones I ordered to get here, we'll just have to deal. And I'll rotate these test ones out just to keep people guessing what's going to be next to my background. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to discuss tapestries and backgrounds. We're here to discuss the black tapes. And let's jump off into this episode.
So, there I was, walking in the woods with a relative stranger looking for a missing boy and his abductor. Not something I thought I'd be doing when I started outlining this podcast.
Yeah. Sometimes life will throw you a pleasant curveball or an unpleasant curveball, or both at the same time. That's always fun.
But I felt like I was kind of getting used to this stuff. Those woods, however, that was definitely an uneasy experience. It was just so far from the highway and so quiet.
And we got the foreboding music going.
The Black Tapes podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at Audible.
Okay, we'll go ahead and pause for the commercial, then come back on the other side. Okay, we are back after the commercial break. Like I said, I leave the commercial breaks in Nightville because when they do them, they do them right. They in-universe them and they twist them, and they make one hell of a great ad. You can listen to the Nightville ads, but we're not listening to Nightville right now. We're listening to Black Tapes. So let's get back into it.
Braun was a good hiking companion. His charming brand of self-help infomercial thinking and enthusiasm for unlocking human potential did strike me as a little hokey, but there was definitely something seductive about the man himself.
It didn't strike me as hokey, but more of a snake oil salesman. But, that's just my opinion.
When I got back to my hotel room, I went straight to my laptop. Braun was right. There were several reports of Lenin bilocating, just before his death.
Still think that's communist propaganda, but, I think Stalin was either coming into power or was at power and using Lenin, basically using things like this as leverage and making Lenin out to be more than what Lenin was. So, yeah, I think that's more communist propaganda than it is anything else.
Tanis Braun's bilocating sounds an awful lot like the Simon Reese situation.
Tanis Braun and Simon Reese have a lot in common.
You don't like him.
Who? Simon?
You know who I mean.
I don't not like him.
And see, that's the problem I have. There are people out there, they get upset. They're like, you don't like me. Yeah, but it doesn't mean I dislike you. It just means I don't like you. They get the fact that I don't consider them a friend or something like that as a negative. They automatically assume dislike when it's you don't have a like and or dislike. They're just there. They exchange oxygen for carbon. They help trees.
I'm starving. Are you hungry?
I could eat. Did you enjoy the park?
I did. Actually, it was beautiful.
See, I like that they have that sound where she's away from the mic. You know, like she got up and walked away and she's going to walk back. That's kind of cool.
Good. Great. Are you going to keep recording?
Okay. The Audible just locked up. Let's see what's going on with that. Okay, we had to restart the computer and let's see if it plays.
Recording or?
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was weird. It just kind of stopped playing and I hadn't paused it and I don't know what's going on.
Hello? Thank you. That was Chief Collins. They found Sebastian.
This may not be a good thing. This may be a wonderful thing, but in this universe, it may not be a good thing.
A hiker and his dog found Sebastian Torres in an abandoned cabin in Portola Redwood State Park, just 5 miles northeast of where Braun and I were looking the day before. Chief Collins didn't have time to discuss the case with us, but here's what we could gather. The cabin hadn't been lived in for at least 65 years when the state of California took over the park.
Ah, that's interesting.
Occasionally, hikers would use the building for shelter from rain, but the cabin was so far off the main trail that most people didn't know it was there. No one knew the history of the tiny structure. Some say a trapper lived there until the mid-1930s.
Wait a minute. Cabins, people. It may have been in an earlier episode of Black Tapes, or it may have been in Rabbits. They were talking about a cabin where a bunch of people got slaughtered off the main trail. Ah, I see what you did there, Mr. Minnow Beats Well and Public Radio Alliance.
But there were no official records of ownership. Sebastian was found 3 days after his disappearance, alone, relatively healthy, except for the fact that he couldn't remember anything about how he got to the cabin, and anything that happened while he was there.
Selective amnesia.
Once the initial investigation was complete, Tanis Braun received permission to do an on-site reading to see if he could pick up anything about Sebastian's abductor.
Uh-oh. This is either going to be really spooky or really campy, one of the two.
He let me tag along.
So, how do you know Dr. Strand?
I don't, not really.
But you've met. You recognized each other immediately.
We've crossed paths several times over the years, debated at conferences, always in a professional context. Yet every time I try to arrange a meeting, even something social, he ducks me. In 10 years, we've never sat down for coffee.
I think he drinks tea.
That was funny.
Ah, that must be it. Here we are.
The cabin was surrounded by yellow tape and guarded by 2 officers who looked like they'd rather be anyplace else.
I've been that on inmate transporting inmates or turning inmates over to a different state's correctional officers or different law enforcement, picking offenders up and stuff. And yeah, it's one of those things where you're just like, I really don't want to be here. I'd rather be doing anything else. Yeah, I've been there, done that.
It was smaller than I expected. 1 room.
It's a cabin. Did you not pay attention in history class? Cabins weren't, multi-room things. They weren't very big. 10 by 10. Sometimes a huge family might have a 15 by 15 cabin. It's...
The smell of damp, rotting wood was everywhere. The glassless windows were boarded up. There was something on one of the walls that immediately grabbed your attention. somebody had drawn symbols. A lot of them. At first they looked like weird cave drawings, very childlike. In fact, I remember thinking Sebastian might have drawn them.
I wonder if our Sumerian numerology and all that's going to come into play here.
Except some of them extended from the floor to the ceiling. There was no way a child could reach that high.
There's no way a child could just disappear without getting caught on camera either.
So, the officer outside said they found him here around noon, in the middle of the room. Just sitting in a chair. Not tied up or anything. The door was unlocked. And these drawings. It's so eerie.
And this feels like a good place to stop because of pausing for the commercial, then having the audible lockup. I'm not real sure how long this video is, so this video may be short or long with some pauses. So we'll figure it out and see what's going on. And until next time, everybody, be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?